Have you ever noticed something strange? A song can feel like it was written just for you. The first time you hear it, everything seems to stop. You replay it on the way to work. You listen while exercising, while studying, before sleeping. Every note feels perfect. Every lyric somehow understands you. Then, without warning, something changes. The same song is still playing. The melody hasn't changed. The singer sounds exactly the same. But the magic is gone. You don't hate the song. It simply feels ordinary. And that raises a fascinating question. If your favorite song never changed, why did your experience of it completely change? Most people think the answer is simple. We listen to it too much. But that's only describing what happened. It doesn't explain why repetition destroys pleasure in the first place. After all, your heart beats over 100,000 times every day without becoming boring. You never get tired of breathing. The sun rises every morning, yet a beautiful sunrise can still leave you speechless. Clearly, repetition alone isn't the enemy. Something else is happening inside your brain. To understand it, imagine walking through a dense forest. The first time you enter, everything demands your attention. Every bird call is unfamiliar. Every tree seems unique. Every sound might mean danger or opportunity. Your brain becomes intensely alert because it has never seen this environment before. Now imagine walking that exact same path every single day for a year. Eventually, something remarkable happens. The forest doesn't become simpler. Your brain simply stops noticing most of it. The unfamiliar becomes predictable. And predictable things require less attention. This invisible ability kept our ancestors alive. The human brain is astonishingly expensive to operate. Although it makes up only about 2% of your body weight, it consumes roughly 20% of your energy. Evolution favored brains that spent attention only where attention was useful. If something keeps happening without changing, your brain quietly moves it into the background. Neuroscientists call this habituation. But that word hides an extraordinary idea. Your brain isn't trying to maximize enjoyment. It's trying to maximize efficiency. Every moment, billions of neurons compete for limited processing power. Your brain constantly asks a single question. What deserves attention right now? Novel things. Unexpected things. Changing things. Those receive priority. Predictable information is gradually compressed until it barely reaches conscious awareness. Think about moving into a new house. During the first week, every creak in the floor sounds loud. You notice every smell. Every light switch feels unfamiliar. Months later, guests point out details you've completely stopped seeing. Nothing disappeared. Your brain simply stopped spending resources on information it already understood. Music follows exactly the same rule. The first time you hear a song, your brain is busy making predictions. Where will the melody go next? Will the singer change key? When will the drums enter? Every second contains uncertainty. And uncertainty is exciting. Because your brain is fundamentally a prediction machine. Long before you consciously hear the next note, millions of neurons are already trying to guess what comes next. Each correct prediction strengthens an internal model. Each surprise forces that model to improve. The pleasure of music doesn't come only from hearing sounds. It comes from the dance between prediction and surprise. Too predictable, and the music feels flat. Too chaotic, and it feels confusing. Great songs live in the narrow space between certainty and surprise. They give your brain enough success to feel intelligent, while still hiding enough surprises to remain interesting. This balance explains why composers across cultures often create tension before release. A delayed chorus. An unexpected chord. A sudden silence. Your brain loves moments where reality is slightly better than expected. Psychologists call this prediction error. Not because the brain failed, but because reality differed from its expectation. Small prediction errors trigger learning. Learning often feels rewarding. In a strange way, your favorite song is teaching your brain during every early listen. But lessons eventually end. After dozens of repetitions, your brain becomes exceptionally accurate. It predicts nearly every beat, every pause, Every lyric, every emotional rise. The song hasn't lost its beauty. Your brain has simply solved it. Imagine receiving the same riddle every morning. The first time, solving it feels satisfying. The 100th time, the answer appears before you've even finished reading the question. The satisfaction disappears not because the riddle became worse, but because there is nothing left to discover. Songs work similarly. Your brain quietly transforms mystery into certainty, and certainty demands very little attention. This is why you sometimes stop hearing parts of songs you've played hundreds of times. The lyrics fade into the background. The guitar solo almost disappears. You can drive for 20 minutes while the song plays, and barely remember hearing it. Your ears are functioning perfectly. Your attention simply went somewhere else. The brain assumes it already knows what's happening, so it spends its precious resources elsewhere. But here's something even stranger. Months, or even years later, you accidentally hear that same forgotten song. Suddenly, everything comes rushing back. The emotion, the memories, even the goosebumps. What happened? Did the song become better? No. Your brain changed again. While the melody remained stored, your predictive model slowly weakened through lack of exposure. Details faded. Certainty declined. The music regained some of its mystery. At the same time, the song became attached to an entire chapter of your life. Neuroscientists have discovered that music strongly connects with the brain's memory systems. A familiar melody doesn't just retrieve sounds. It retrieves emotions, people, places, versions of yourself that no longer exist. The song becomes a time machine. You're no longer listening only to music. You're briefly meeting an older version of yourself. That is why songs from childhood often feel almost impossible to replace. You're hearing memories as much as melodies. This reveals a deeper truth. Your favorite song doesn't actually become boring. Your brain becomes efficient. What fades isn't the music. It's the uncertainty that once surrounded it. The brain treats familiarity as solved information, freeing attention for whatever might matter next. It's another example of an invisible rule that shapes almost every part of human experience. The things that move us most are rarely the things themselves. They're the gap between what we expect and what we discover. The next time your favorite song starts feeling ordinary, you might think you've fallen out of love with it. But something far more interesting has happened. Your brain has quietly filed that song into the same category as your own heartbeat. Not because it stopped being beautiful, but because it became so deeply understood that your mind no longer needs to study it. And perhaps that's the highest compliment your brain can give. The song didn't lose its magic. It became part of you,